welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today I will be doing my wrap up for January, and for the first time, I'm gonna have some statistics because I have finally been putting my reading in a spreadsheet based off of how my reading went last year. I just feel like it's important to track things. So far for the year, my average rating is 4.14, which is really good. I think that's already way higher than it was last year. I have read 85.7% audiobooks and 14% ebook. So I haven't read any physical. I have read some books physically, but mostly I'm doing audio and ebook, which is fine. I've read exactly 50% YA, 50% adult, which I think this year is going to possibly see more YA, but that's fine. 86% of the books I have read have been containing LGBT, either author or character rep. And 57% have been books that I owned. 100% of the books have been traditionally published. And I'm exactly at 50% standalones and 50% part of a series. I love that it's exactly half and half. And I'm already doing much better this year in terms of diversity with my authors because I have now read 35% Black authors, 7% Asian authors, and 57% white authors, which last year was about 83%. So I'm hoping that the Black author and Asian author will just, maybe we can get it to swing to 40%, but we'll see. 64% of the authors are all new to me, which I think I want to be better about doing half and half because I feel like reading from authors you've read before that you like, I just think that'll help with my overall reading year. So, and in terms of genre, we have 50% fantasy, and then I didn't realize, this is actually looks very nice in terms of genre diversity here too. We have dystopian, fantasy, horror, mystery, romance, and thriller. So I've read all the genres. So I want to discuss the books in order from least favorite to favorite because I would just like to end the video on a happy note. So starting with my least favorite, it's every book that I read this month was a 4.5 or 5-star. Now I read 14 books, but we're only going to talk about 11 of them because 3 of them were rereads for Cassandra Clare, and I talked about her enough, so I don't need to talk about the rereads for Cassandra Clare, but just those were all 4.5 or 5-star reads. But so when I say this is my least favorite, I still gave it 4 stars. I still really liked it and I would still recommend it. I don't know if I've ever had a month where every book was 4 stars or higher. So I feel like that's a really good, I don't know. I'm hoping that I need some 5-star reads though because I'm so stingy with them. But so my least favorite book that I read was Brokeback Mountain, which was a movie that I've seen years ago and I just wanted to read the source material. And I feel like the movie just fleshes out a lot of stuff because it's really just a short story and it hits the same emotional beats as the movie, but they just are much more not enjoyable, but they're just much more fleshed out in the movie. So I would just recommend the movie over this, but I did still give it 4 stars but I did see the movie. So I feel like if I had not seen the movie, I would have enjoyed this even less. So I don't know. Next up, we have All That's Left in the World, which is like a male-male romance with a post-apocalyptic setting. And I don't really remember the characters that well, but I do remember really liking the romance of them together. So, but I just think that it was kind of, it's like a YA contemporary kind of vibe. And I think that's kind of that never really hits for me as like a favorite thing ever. And I really don't remember much about it at all since I read it. So like I couldn't tell you, I remember how they meet and I remember like the journey they go on in a sense, and the romance was really good. Like I did really enjoy the romance part of it, but everything else just doesn't make it like a standout book in my opinion. Then we have The Last Wish by Andrei Sapkowski. I did read this because Bethany and Leanna were doing a read along for it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue because I enjoyed it and I gave it 4 stars, but and I appreciate what this was doing and I feel like I would enjoy it, but I'm just not really in the mood to like do a really long series with a white author. Like I'm just not ready for that yet. I feel like it's more intermediate and I'm not really quite there in terms of my fantasy skill set. Like, yeah, and I've seen people say that like the books are sexist, but I don't really, there is sex in the books, but I don't think that makes it I don't know. I feel like I can understand how you could argue for it to be sexist, but I could also see how you could argue for it not to be sexist. So I don't know. I enjoyed it though. Like I think in a couple years it'll be something that I really will want to read, but I'm actually more inclined to like watch the show or play the video game with what I got. So okay, next up we have 7 Days in June, which is a romance, and it follows like this author who writes like this really long-running paranormal series, and then there's like a guy who she kind of writes into the book, and then they meet back up with each other years later, and there's like this whole backstory as to why they can't be together, and it's very angsty, and it was just really well written, and I definitely will probably read more from this author in the future because I really like what she did in terms of developing the romance and stuff. I don't know if she's already written anything else, but I mean, I think she has, but I think I'm just more inclined to like read what she's coming out with in the future because I don't really feel like anything that she's written in the past. I'd have to look into it further, but I really enjoyed this. This was like a 4.25, 4-star kind of book, but definitely, it was definitely something that I definitely think it's worth reading. I think it's worth, I don't know if it won the Goodreads choice for romance last year or not, but I definitely think it's worth the read. Now we're getting into some that I actually have a copy of. So we have The Death of Vivek Oji. This one, it's very short, and this is my first Okweke Emezi, and let me tell you, it was so sad. It was so sad. Obviously, like from the title I can tell it's sad, but like it's so well written, and the ending for this book, like I was shocked at like just the perspective that you're in. Like it was so good. I really don't know what else I can say about this book. Like it's so short. I listened to it on audio. I think it was a really good audiobook. The narrator was really good. I definitely will be reading more by Okweke Emezi. I'm very concerned about what I mean with that one, You Made a Fool of Death video. I don't know how I'm gonna get along with that one, but I definitely want to read Pet. I'm thinking my next read by them will be Pet. And yeah, this was very good. It was, I don't know what else to say. I'm so bad at reviewing books. I mean, when you learn, I don't want to, it's so short, I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending was shocking. The ending was shocking, and it just like recontextualizes the story in this way that's just so sad. But yeah, that's really all I can say about that one. So I gave that one like also like a 4.25. And the next we have Legendborn. Now this is a hyped lady who has been compared to Cassandra Clare and Lady Taylor, who are two of my favorite authors. So I really enjoyed this. I actually finished it and felt kind of disappointed when I finished it, but then I reviewed it and then I watched other people's reviews of it, and I'm actually very excited for the sequel now, and I bought the sequel. So as time has gone on since I finished it, this has only gone up in my brain, and this, I think upon a reread, I could appreciate it even more because what it's doing for YA is so fun and exciting, and this to me is just like, I don't know, like this shows the value to me of YA. Like I feel like we're just not at a point where we can get this in adult books right now in a way. Like I just don't think so. I mean, I would love for that to be the case, but I don't know. This had just so many things that I love. It really did. Like it just had like, and it was compared to like, I don't know. But I have seen a lot of critiques that our main character, Bree, doesn't have a lot of genuine connections with like other Black characters, and I feel like that is a good critique. Like I feel like I would agree with the critique. So, but also, I don't know, I have a full review for this book, so I will just link that up there for you to check out, and if you want to talk to me about it, feel free to just do so in that video. But this one, yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for the sequel because I feel like she really, by the end, has kind of come into her own by the end, so I'm really excited to see like how she goes, like where she goes from what happens in the end of the book, which is, I mean, I can't, you know, obviously, again, I don't want to spoil things, so. But I'm very glad I read this, and this makes me so excited for like YA fantasy in general. Okay, the next we have a book that I completely read on ebook, and that is Burn For Me by Ilona Andrews. This one I read, I don't know, I really like urban fantasy, and I've been wanting to read like more adult works, so this was the start to an adult urban fantasy, and I do want to just read the next two. Probably not going to do that until March because I want to prioritize Black authors in February, but I definitely want to read the next two in here, and I loved the like mystery part of it, and I liked the fantasy parts of it, and I love how Ilona Andrews, what they do is they set up worlds where it's our world, but like there's just magic in our world, and like it's not like a hidden thing, like it's just like people in the whole world understand that we have magic, or that like there's these people that have genetically modified abilities based off of this serum that was discovered in the past. And I loved how they did like the world building sense of it, where it was just like one little thing at the beginning to explain how the world became what it is, and then we just get into the story. Like I really enjoyed that type of storytelling, I guess. Yeah, the only thing I didn't love was the romance is very alpha male, and I'm just not really sure I like that type of romance. I like a cinnamon roll hero kind of romance. And but I mean, like I could just, I don't know. If you've read this one, like it's definitely like he's constantly described as a dragon. So there's definitely this aspect to it where he's like this big muscular man, which, like, yes please. But I just found it to be like so, like, it was constantly talking about his muscles, which is, something I like, but it's just so, it was just it was repetitive in terms of the romance, but like in terms of the fantasy elements and the mystery elements and like it's not really a mystery. It's kind of like a thriller in a way, because you're like, she's on the hunt for this one of the other family members that has like they call them like the houses and stuff. I don't know, but I remember a lot about it and I really liked it and I want to continue the series. So, and I gave this like 4 stars, maybe 4.5, I don't know, between a 4 and a 4.5 star rating. So yes. Okay, next we have Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is my second Tiffany D. Jackson. I first read Grown last year, maybe 2 years ago, and I loved it. And I know Tiffany Jackson, like I've really thought me and her were gonna get along, and I gave this like 4.5, 4, somewhere between, all these are like, most of these are between 4 and 4.5 stars, but like I've obviously ranked them in my enjoyment. So this was just so like mysterious in a way that like I just constantly wanted to know the answer to what happened to Monday. And when you find out, again, no spoilers, but like it's just so well written. I love her writing. I love the way that she sets up her characters. I just like this sadness of how people just don't listen to Black girls in this book it's really sad. And just, it's such an important book. It's just such an important book, and it talks about so many things that you need to pay attention to, and you need to trust people when they have instincts. And just the comparison of like, oh my god, and the twist at the end again with this one was so just a gut punch. It was such a gut punch, but it was like, oh man, I don't know. I would probably reread this one because I feel like if I reread it, maybe I could pick up on certain things with the way, and it's like the twist is something that it was, I don't know, it was done really well. I think this was her debut, if not maybe her second, or I don't know. But I definitely plan to read more Tiffany D. Jackson, maybe all of her work this year. I don't know, we'll see. But yes. Okay, then next we have Ace of Spades. Now this one is really close to the top. This is in my top 3 of the month. Like this was so good. This is like, I mean, it's literally, and actually it says Gossip Girl meets Get Out, but I would actually compare this more to Pretty Little Liars. And even the author, at the author's note, she said that she watched like Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars. And I feel like, because if you've seen Pretty Little Liars, there's always that scene where people are getting like texts from like an anonymous person, and that's definitely a theme in here, which isn't really, I mean, it's also in Gossip Girl, but I feel like the way that it does it in here reminds me more of Pretty Little Liars, because Gossip Girl is more just like threatening you on, like, she's more threatening you in this sense of like putting out your social life aspects. This is more like, I know what you did last summer, kind of like, I know what happened, like, and this just got so dark at the end in a way that like, I mean, it was just constant, like, I don't know the word, like it had a much darker tone than I would have expected. But also both of our main characters are in relationships with people of the same sex, which I didn't know they were both. I thought there was one, but they're both gay or lesbian. So this was so good. This was like, it was just so good. It was just so enthralling, engaging. Yeah, and I got this edition from like Illumicrate, and I kind of wish I got the US edition, because the US edition has like a map and like a school schedule and all that stuff. I didn't get that in this edition, but that doesn't matter that much. There we go. Okay, and then my number 2 read is one I don't have physically. I read it way earlier than this month, and I read it, and it's so short. I guess I read a lot of short books this month, but it's Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine Invalente, who I have always heard like the way people describe her writing, and I thought like it's not gonna be for me, but I don't know. This is like kind of weird writing in a way that like I definitely want to read more by her, because it's just so different and a refreshing way, and this really went in a place I didn't expect. Like it really, it's so short, so it's hard to like say anything, but I don't even want to compare it to stuff, because I feel like if you compare it to stuff, you could maybe like pick up on the plot points of what's going to happen. You should really just go into it knowing nothing. But all I can say is that it really makes me think. And if you want a book, I don't know, like, I mean, I would kind of compare it to Stepford Wives in the sense, but like, I don't know, it's so short. Like if you just like Stepford Wives, then I would recommend this. But yeah, I don't know, because it really does something that, and the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I don't have words for it. I really don't have words to describe it. I just know like it was so good. Like it was just so good. And it makes me really excited for her writing, because I know she has like a middle grade series. She has a lot of like, I don't know, and I guess I'm learning that like that kind of writing style that's like kind of out there, but like still, like it was still grounded in reality enough for me. Like I don't really like Erin Morgenstern's writing, but this I enjoyed because there was still like a plot. And I don't think Erin Morgenstern knows how to write a plot, so that's kind of the difference for me. But yes, so now we're gonna talk about my number one favorite read of the year, but we're also not gonna talk about it because it's The Dragon Republic, aka the sequel to The Poppy War. And unfortunately, we are still living, at the time of my recording this, in a world where HarperCollins is still on strike. I think they're finally negotiating, but things are still on strike. But this was definitely my favorite thing I read. I annotated half of it and then I switched to the ebook because I don't know. Something about my brain is like, doesn't want to read physically. I don't know. But I did read most of this on ebook, and then I finished like the last 3 chapters on audio. So I really was all over the place with this one. But I don't love the narrator, but it was enough to like, I got the story. And the way it ends, oh man, like it's, again, I love how I'm talking about the ending for all these books, I'm sorry. But it's just, yeah, no, I definitely want to continue this year. I don't know the last one I've continued a series this soon after finishing the first book. Like normally I'll read the first book and then I'll wait like a year. But like this one I actually continued very soon on. So yeah, that's my review without really reviewing it. But yeah, let me know what was your favorite thing that you read in January. And yeah, how many did you read? Anything else you want to let me know, just leave it in the comments. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. It will all be in the description for you to check out if you'd like. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.